This video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. More on that in a bit. You know, I've always preferred Amity as a ship name. It's more accurate to how people talk about them. A little bit of loose and a whole lot of Amity.
Well, why you boring me? I'm right.
Yes, the landmark relationship, the first, and let's be real here, only gay couple in Disney's catalog has gotten all the praise in the world, but does it really deserve it? Or has a hype surrounding Disney actually being out and proud for once consumed a couple that is just okay? Well, that's what we're here to find out, as today I take a look back at the power couple that has set the internet ablaze. Is it bad? Is it good? Has all the focuses gotten been a detriment to any other parts in the show? I'm Sarcastic, of course, and I regret nothing except having to constantly tell you guys to like, share, and subscribe every time. I know, I'm annoyed too. I also regret not using Atlas VPN sooner. You see, back in the day, I used to hop from website to website thinking I was safe. Well, shocker, I wasn't. When you use the internet without a VPN, you're basically asking for your information to get stolen or to get targeted by ad companies. And with Atlas, not only will it purge the annoying ads from your screen, but you also be able to keep your internet information safe. Effectively, what a VPN does is that it hides your information through a protective pipeline and makes it so those third parties can't see it. And wait, it gets better. VPNs do the standard thing of that it allows you access to region-locked content, making it so that you can cut down your subscription services. Stuff that's only on Hulu in the States can be available for free on Netflix if you have the subscription already. But there's also something that I've just been in love with since I've been using Atlas, is that not only does it let you go to get region-locked content, but it also lets you get region-locked deals. See, by making it look like you're in a different country, you can go to a different place, say like India, all hypothetical here, and once you're there, you can proceed to go then buy YouTube Premium, and making that outrageous $11.99 a month get cut down to $1.69. No YouTube ads, none of that waiting, for $1.69 a month. Yes. You should be doing this, and I encourage it. You literally can't lose money with Atlas, and right now Atlas is running a special deal, meaning you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.99 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just use the link in the description and the world could be yours. Time is running out though, so go to the description, click the link, and go get Atlas VPN. $1.69 for premium. Do it! Also, I have a second channel going on right now. It's called The Secret Sluttier Chorus. And the first video's on that right now. It's just me and a bunch of friends got together and we talked about the Owl House season 2.5, I guess we're calling it. It's really good. You guys should go check it out. It's The Secret Sluttier Chorus. Its link's gonna be somewhere. Go check it out. But let's go back to the witches. The Owl House, created by Dana Terrence and her amazing team, is a story about a human girl who avoids conforming by traveling to a different world, where her isekai fantasies are cruelly crushed as she realizes not only is she not the chosen one, but the whole place runs on nightmare fuel.
Hello, little fairy. Are you going to tell me this is all a fantastical dream? Give me your skin!
Yeah, this isn't your regular fantasy world. It's got gilfs. So, after being adopted by Ida the Foxy Owl Lady and a vibing Alex Hirsch, who I'm pretty sure since Gravity Falls has just locked himself in a recording booth, will lose his adventures on the Boiling Isles being railroaded into high school, because Disney said so. No, seriously, the resident Hogwarts only exists because the higher-ups saw Luce need a place to meet the other kids. Could be wrong on that, but I very much have heard that rumor multiple times, and I think it tracks, especially with as soon as they're in season 2, they just drop this shit hard. But it did give us an excuse to bring Amity and Luce together, so I guess it can't be that bad. Besides them though, the rest of the show is about magic and soft boy fascists, but that's not what we're really here to talk about. It never is. Well, time for my actual slightly roasted opinions.
Eat this, sucker!
No! My only weakness! Dying!
Now, I like Luce. She's fun, but she's the diet Nutella of main characters. Super sweet, makes everything better, but doesn't leave as much of an impact as you would like. Like, I love this girl. I'm not ignoring her. There's a reason, though, that everyone became obsessed with her beta version. She's just missing that edge that the target audience for this is craving. She's a good character, as it takes a certain kind of compelling to watch a girl be a public nuisance and you still pick her side. What really makes Luce work for me personality-wise is that she feels like a protagonist that was raised by TV. When people get trapped in another world, they lose their minds over it. Yet they still don't act like people. They just stand around, say obvious questions, or say nothing at all. Luz has seen enough anime to know she's the protagonist, and the disappointment to find out everything she learned was bullshit. Luz likes AMV's fanfiction and is probably a mod on Reddit. She's doing for Disney what Scream did for slasher movies, being aware of the type of story she's in, allowing her to come off as more in the loop instead of getting lapped every episode. In so many shows, a lot of time gets wasted by characters standing around saying stupid questions or not asking the obvious ones. Luz is always on top of this, and she's definitely starting a wiki if she gets back home from the Boiling Isles. It's just super refreshing to see and allows for great moments where the story undercuts her expectations or plays into tropes you are very familiar with. Luz wishes that she was the chosen one with a special destiny and eye candy, but instead, she's gotta work for everything. That natural curiosity or obsession with magic allows her to figure out glyphs without feeling like the answers are just getting handed to her. Being the jaded and anxiety-ridden shell pretending to be a person that I am, overly optimistic characters are pretty much the bane of my existence. They always have. Because fuck them for being so happy. Luz, though, has never really gotten on my nerves, which is an achievement. She's peppy, but the story doesn't hand her W's or bend over backwards to make her right. She screws up. She screws everything up. She never feels stagnant though, or makes the same mistake twice. It's subtle, with her having a great sense of progression throughout the show, going from a tourist who is just living out her power fantasy to an actual hero who is just trying not to go hungry. She's not the cool, down-to-earth everyman who's hip American ways and lighting this feudal society. Luz is just an inspiring person who brings out the best in her friends because she'll give them the chance everyone else has denied them. Geeky, fun, and a little bit all over the place, but her heart is in the right one. Her mom may have sent her away, but Luz landed in all of our hearts. Also, Luz's mom, she's great. She's not abusive. She's a single mom doing her best. It's that pure, clumsy energy that makes Luz the perfect match for the queen of melodrama and angst, Amity.
Who are you? I want answers!
Amity Blight.
Huh?
The only exercise Owl House fans get is dick riding Amity, and no, I'm not debating this. While Luz remains the cinnamon roll we all need in our lives, but for some reason, most of you have committed to the sour punch. Which look, I get it. If I met a girl who was willing to take her first L to date me, I'd be crushing too. Amity stans though have crossed the line Catcher fans toed, and it feels like they straight up decided no one else in this show matters. I mean, I get it, she's a vibe, but y'all gotta at least pretend there are other people in this show. See, the thing about Amity is, she's been a bully, a friend, an icon, and a five-head, all within the first season and a half. And she can brag about having that kind of range, because she never misses. From her first moment as the mean girl to becoming a love-struck dork, Amity is the gift that keeps on giving, if what you were given was trauma. As being born into one of the noblest families in the Boiling Isles, lesbian Draco here has been raised to believe that she always has to be the best. Her parents forced her to get rid of her longtime friend Willow, but rather than explaining that my parents hate you, Amity decided to kick Willow's self-esteem off a cliff to spare her feelings. Then over the years she forgot why she did and just kept on kicking, because clout. Growing up into a generic mean girl who picks on anyone that isn't her, a certain man-made disaster blew into her life, knocking her off of that lie and shame-filled pedestal that she put herself on, helping her to get out of that snob mentality and recognize that she was wrong to bully her friend, which Amity then apologizes for before she and the show go back to ignoring her existence. Amity, from this point on, is Luz's biggest simp. I don't use that word lightly, but in this case, I think it fits. Whether it's freaks, monsters, or the government, she's willing to do anything to help her girlfriend out. I still mourn the green hair. It's great in fan art. I think it looks occasionally fine in the show. It's still a downgrade. I know it's metaphorical. Amity is a good character that basically speed ran through tropes to win the popularity contest, and hasn't stopped running since. Because if there's anything people love more than villains, it's a redemption story, allowing you to have that edgy role model you've been obsessing over, while removing the problematic elements people would call you out on. Because when suffering isn't enough to redeem a character, just give them bad parents, or as the audience calls it, a free pass. Amity and Luz are both struggling with a lot of serious subject matter, but you put them together, they can do anything, while devolving into lovable dorks. Let's talk about that journey, because unlike other shows, this isn't 5 seasons of desperate pining, but an actual relationship we see form and blossom, with Luz and Amity's whole thing going through multiple stages before they finally get together. Now I kind of like to break this into 3 parts. You got the rival period where everyone hated Amity. You got when Amity and Luz chilled out and became friends, before Grom happened. Then finally, they got together, which is just the last episode of season 2 at the time of this recording. Now we gotta take this ship back to the beginning, where there was no ship to be found, where the only thing people wanted to see happen to Amity was violence.
Aww, it's like mine, but much smaller and meaningless.
Yeah, Amity is kind of the worst in the beginning, and what she does to Willow is bad. It really only gets worse with context. But Luz doesn't need to hear any of it to be on Willow's side, with them working together to cheat Willow into getting an A, which sets off Amity, who is very protective of her good noodle status, with her going out of her way to reveal Luz as a fraud because grades are worth more than people to her. See, technically, Amity is in the right here, that Willow didn't deserve that, but it's hard to agree or care about the person who treats tearing people down like it's a hobby. But it is important to remember that Amity is being set up to be just a little bit justified in hating Luz. The show doesn't want you to just think, oh, she is just the mean girl. There's some rationale here to justify her actions. That dislike of Luz only gets worse when the next time they see each other, they're throwing hands, after some out-of-pocket meanness from Amity again, only for both of them to fall victim to the maladjusted teenagers pretending to be grown-ups, Ida and Lilith, who tricked both of them into cheating, humiliating Amity, causing her to have a pity party in the corner as she just got caught cheating in front of the whole town. Luz, being made of cinnamon spice and way too much nice, is the one to try and comfort her, owning up that she isn't a real witch. And while Amity isn't immediately friends with her, she holds her hand to break the no takes back oath they made earlier. They're not friends, but they're getting to a place where they're not enemies either. And this reveals to us that Amity has her own issues to deal with both of them realizing that the other is more than meets the eye. Good first impressions are important, but they're non-existent in this show. Now this was about the time when people started to smell a little something in the air. It wasn't anything too strong, as people were still riding that Amity hate train pretty hard. And any suggestion of Luz dating Willow's bully was a one-way ticket to getting jumped online. But as viewers, you can tell that the show was going to do something with Amity. Because while everyone loves a villain, giving them a redemption arc lets you do it without getting questioned, and lets people rant about how this character is the next Zuko for the 400th million fucking time. Then the library episode happened, and people kinda just stopped caring about Willow and Gus, and just going all in on Amity. The library is where Luz finds out Amity has a soft side, as she works there and reads to children. This is immediately treated as a good thing, ignoring the fact that every librarian I've ever met has rage issues. But things, of course, go poorly, with Luz ending up having a panic attack when she meets Amity's older siblings, who drag her into trouble when they decide they need to take their sister down a peg for being so serious and, more importantly, being a snitch. With the twins wanting to publish Amity's diary to everyone at school, but here Luz has to draw the line, and of course Amity has to misread it. But it's okay. They bond over the time-honored tradition of not dying together. With this being the episode, well, they really just become friends. Over the course of a couple episodes, we watch the two of them meet, instantly hate each other, and realize they have more in common than they first thought. And while Luz did embarrass her, it was all unintentional, which is the thing Amity needed to realize to grow more accepting of her, which bled into the rest of Amity's life as she stopped taking everyone at face value and questions, why the hell am I friends with Basha? This is where more of the low-key shipping started, with that trickle turning into one hell of a flood. But there was just one problem. One itsy-bitsy thing that people just kept them from committing all the way. And it's not the winter episode that I will be skipping over. But from the very beginning, Amity's treatment of Willow has been Amity's worst trait. We have seen her begin to distance herself from her mean friends, but Amity has still never apologized for all the abuse she's given Willow all these years. No matter how much people were warming up to the idea of Luz and Amity being a couple, this was the elephant in the character development room that needed to be resolved, as Luz dating Willow's bully without that closure would have just been a very bad look. with Luce be looking unsympathetic and Willow looking like a prop meant to introduce the two of them together. So, in understanding Willow, the last of Amity's worst status over well-being behavior comes out, when she tries to burn a photo of Willow and Amity together when they were kids, not knowing that these photos were magical and damaging them would also damage Willow's mind. So yes. So it's the return of PG drunk people. Amazing what you can do when you don't call it alcohol. This forces Amity and Luce to adventure into Willow's mind to repair the damage, but here, Amity still doesn't want to face her greatest shame, in spite of Luce's attempts to comfort her, with this also being where we get the first of the blush storm. There will be more, and it will be very soon Amity's main color. We also kind of get why Amity wouldn't want Luce of all people to see her trash Willow. Thankfully, the inner manifestation of Willow's rage appears, forcing Amity to confront what she did, with Amity finally telling her how it was initially a lie and how Amity was the one who was too weak to be Willow's friend. Great line, nice sentiment, ignores years of abuse, but Willow gaining closure and self-confidence is more important than punishing Amity right now. Also, we need it to happen for the ship. I also don't think we're completely done with this though. There's gotta be at least a little bit more drama between these. Like, I want at least one Willow and Amity episode. Just one. But while for the moment Amity and Willow have had their drama shelved for the moment, but the show mining Amity and Luce for drama has only just begun. As we've seen them become good friends, we've seen the subtle hints that Amity might be thinking about being more than friends. But the real shift comes in Grom, which, as the Flintstones would say, we'll have a gay old time. The main crux of this episode is that it's about a magical school prom, that thing teenagers pretend to go to when they're really going to house parties, where the Grom king or queen is forced to fight a shape-shifting monster that can turn into your worst fears. Amity is selected to be queen this year and is terrified of it revealing her deepest, darkest secrets. As for her, it's embarrassing. Which, as we'll find out, Amity's biggest fear was neither her abusive parents, academic failure, or any of the nightmare fuel that lives in the boiling aisles. No, Amity's biggest fear was putting herself out there only to be rejected by her crush. Being rejected by Luce. So this episode was pretty much everything everyone could have hoped for. From Luce being an oblivious lady killer to Amity's insecurity and fears, they are really playing to their strengths. Because Luce doesn't need to be the deepest character or have some grand arc. She was an outcast in the human world, and it's only amongst the demons and weirdos of the Boiling Isles has she found a place to really belong. The drama in her life is her relationship with her mom. All the rest of the time, she just needs to be her positive, upbeat self, making that real world drama hit all the harder. Amity, on the other hand, is just casual angst most of the time. Because in spite of being the top witch for years, she's been pretty much forced into all of it by her parents. She's just not used to being free or questioning what she wants to do, as most of it has just been planned out for her. From who she can be friends with to even the color of her hair, Amity has only been really able to explore what she wants since Luce stumbled into her life. With that freedom comes indecision, as she's not sure what she wants to do or how she should express herself, as Luce is her first crush, and she isn't sure what to do with that or these feelings. But the second she sees Luce in trouble, she stops overthinking it, and everything just kind of falls into place from there. Luce just is immediately the supportive person Amity's angst factory needs, and without missing a beat, Luce just volunteers to be Amity's date. She's just that nice of a person and hasn't put it together that it's her. Between the hallway banter, the stylish battle dance that I know you replayed to death, it all culminates in them just being their best, slightly confused selves together. And that's something that I always love to see in my ships. It's not just that they have chemistry or that they're cute together, it's that they make each other better, that they make each other more interesting. And this show was only in its first season, and they were already laying the shipping on pretty thick. But something that I love about it is that unlike other shows where they're just immediately in love and then nothing happens till the end, the fact that they've already gone through the I hate you phase, to the I like you a little bit, to the they're already crushing hard, tells us that we didn't have to wait long, that this was inevitable, and even promising us that we would see an actual relationship develop and not 5 seasons of a redundant game of cat and bug. From here we moved from the ship being hinted at to only hinting that Amity has other thoughts in her head.
What about you, Amity?
Me? On a team with you? Running around in cute uniforms? Sweating? I gotta go!
The girl is gushing about Luz at every opportunity, constantly finding new ways to express her love to everyone that isn't her crush. Willow knows, Ida knows, Hootie knows. The show spent the rest of the season teasing them getting together for pretending that the show had other things going on, with the show needing to break Amity's leg to get her out of the plot and make Luz hang out with other people for a change. Which is as good of a segue as any to talk about one of the few minor issues, very minor, the show has, as it's gone all in on Lucidity, which is the lack of focus the other characters in the show get, with the biggest offense being Willow and the token male. In season 2, the main plot is going at full blast. The new antagonist, Hunter, basically becomes the third main character, and Lamney finally becomes official. There really hasn't been enough time for Luz's other friends. This might change in the next half of season 2, a Willow episode is promised, but if we're going by the Gus episode, it'll probably be fun but feel disposable. Plus you throw in the fact that the third season got gutted to 3 specials because it doesn't gel with the Disney brand. I get the feeling that these two are going to get a lot more screen time, but only as members of the team. They put them in the credits and it's too late to back out now. Like, the show really put a lot of time and effort into making Lumity happen, knowing how important this representation is, especially based on who their boss is. It just has that unintended side effect of making other characters feel like they're getting shafted. They're basically the Idas of the Owl House. They seemed really important early on, only for a completely different trio to take over, which I'm kinda fine with. Like, honestly, I would have been happy if this show was just about Luce, Ida, and Mommy. Lumity isn't the entire reason these characters are not getting enough screen time. They got the mystery with King, they got Hunter, they have Ida getting laid. There's just so many plates spinning right now that Willow and Gus just being the friends and not having that engaging mystery behind them has really just made them just the one thing that's like, okay, it should be fine if we give them less. So let's ignore them to go talk about Lumity again. See, from here, we jump back on that Amity hype train, with the show introducing us to her parents. Haley from American Dad, and the airheaded dad who everyone forgets is just as bad as her. With Amity Blight's one loose brain cutting into the part where she does what her mom tells her to. Karen Blight decides to complain to the principal and blackmails him into banning Luce and the extras from Hexside. Unable to stand up to her mom, Amity stays silent, so Luce tries to solve the situation by talking with the mom, who uses her as a punching bag to show off their weapons of mass destruction. Before the Karen gives up on making the murder look like an accident, Amity having to step in to save the day.
Stay away from my loot!
Amity?
The other two are here. Everyone forgets that, but they were here. Amity's red spells are finally spreading to Luce, with her realizing this isn't just friends' feelings. Future in-laws are dealt with, and yeah, crush mode has been engaged. Time to finally bring this one home.
Gustabeth. Any of those working for you?
You need my library card to visit Amity, don't you?
I haven't been doing a good job of hiding that.
Yeah, no, literally everyone knows now. Luce is constantly visiting Amity in the library as they look for more information about humans. And just the casual longing interspersed with lots of blushing, these two can barely function together, and it's hilarious. Amity puts her job on the line to get Luce into the forbidden section, only for them to get caught and she loses it.
Everything's changed since you came here. Being around you, it makes me do stupid things, and I wish it didn't.
It's okay, I do stupid things around you too, Amity.
At home, Amity has a talk with her sister, who encourages her to not shy away from her feelings. How her fear of how chaotic and confusing her life has become, thanks to Luce, is actually an improvement over how miserable she was before. That what she's feeling isn't wrong, causing her to step away from the control she's felt her entire life, dyeing her hair in a symbolic gesture, I still mourn, and starting a new chapter in her life.
You always have a way of sneaking into people's hearts.
Bold move, sister.
No, they're not together, but they're about to be. And I find this whole build-up period to be super cute and not super aggravating. This is a medium to slow burn, where they want to be together, but neither of them are really used to dating, making taking that next step feel huge and intimidating. It makes them feel more like real kids than the authors just dragging it out. Thankfully, all that confusion, all that awkwardness is rendered irrelevant thanks to Hootie. Yes, Hootie. The demon house, who people hate way too much, decided that he was going to give back to his friends. taking King to school, drugging Ida, and forcing Luce and Amity on a date in a very cringy tunnel of love. He's had enough of this will they won't they crap, with Luce trashing the entire place before she explodes from embarrassment, with Amity, again misreading what's happening, thinking that Luce is saying she would hate to date her. And I think at this point my brain decided if this goes on for another episode, I'm done. But because drama is drama, Hootie has a meltdown and forces Luce to bite the bullet.
Brian, help me ask Amity out.
Oh, whoa. Do you wanna?
Then do it.
Do you want to go out with me?
I know people would complain that they had to do this because of Hootie, but TV is full of drama and shenanigans. They finally fucking said it.
Why is this still so scary?
I don't know. Dang, Hootie, you really are something.
This was a good thing. It took a while to get there, and there was a lot of blushing, but this wasn't the culmination of their entire relationship. This isn't meant to be the holy shit moment. This was just the beginning. If season 3 hadn't gotten ripped to shreds, they would have spent half the show together. We could have seen more of the drama of Luce and Amity trying to make this work. What we've gotten so far though is just Luce being sick while Amity thinks she needs to do everything to keep Luce happy, applying the negative life lessons she learned from her parents to being a girlfriend. But honestly, all this is just a great foundation. I really like Lumity. I like how they complement each other, appealing to both sides of the fan base, making for a relationship that pleases most people. Luce is happy and bubbly, going on about tropes and magic, while Amity has the drama and angst every teen who has ever been mildly sassed by their mom can relate to. When people talk about the Owl House, they talk about the world, the characters, and Lumity. These two have become one of the main driving forces of the show, and honestly, I don't think it would be as popular without them. It's a good feeling watching these two idiots figure out that they like each other, and how both their previous romantic history bleeds into how they experience it. Luce is used to crushing on a lot of people, but for her, it all seems to be in that theoretical fanfic stage. So it's hard for her to make this more than just a crush. While Amity is a bit of a disaster with so much to work on, but falling for Luce, falling for another girl was a completely new feeling for her. As she said herself, she's never felt this way about anyone before. I usually prefer a bit more melodrama in my ships, but for all of Owl House's crazy world, it tells a pretty simple love story. Which kind of just begs the question, why did Lumity get so popular? Like, seriously, why is this the thing? Why did this shit blow up when so many other couples didn't get close to this amount of attention? But after going through the show again, I think I figured it out. Which this being made by Disney, that is huge. That is absolutely a factor that the mouse with a stranglehold on pop culture is making this. What really makes Lumity stand apart is that it really does feel like a normal relationship. Look, I love Cat Dora. I love watching the sexual tension between a hero and a cat. It's just always fun. But their high melodrama conclude with the two of them getting together and kissing only at the end of the story, leaving the rest of the story to still be good, but people are stuck huffing subtext while pumping out an insane amount of fan works. All of it is good, but it's kind of the pattern we've always been trapped in. Shows offering only a hint, a smidgen of gay, praying that the finale will confirm it, depriving us of seeing the couple actually be together. Plus, the insanely high stakes of Catra and Adora, childhood friends turned enemies on opposite sides of an intergalactic conflict, great for drama, but none of us are actually going to live through that. In contrast, Lumity, after surviving the "are you a good person or are you just hot" phase, the Owl House goes out of its way to depict them as just two girls realizing they're in love, and the teen awkwardness and fear that comes with it. Coupled with the couple doing their best to make the relationship work as they are so unfamiliar with the experience, this is a story about the struggles of a first love and coming to grips with your sexuality that we pretty much have never gotten in a major animated show for kids, not to this level of exploration. It pretty much took the crack created by Korosami, the door Steven Universe died opening up, and the Owl House ran through it to give us a charming story made exceptional by it being about two girls. With people going absolutely insane for it, as after years of censorship, to finally be allowed to see this kind of story being told on the silver screen to everybody, to not even mention all the kids who will watch this and realize it's okay to say gay, people will watch this show and finally have the context for their own feelings. Instead of just wondering for years why Chris Pine does something to them, this level of casual representation has been denied to the LGBT community for, let's be honest, centuries. Literal centuries. So to have these two idiots get together and be happy is a cause for celebration. And if you're one of those people who hate it for being gay, please go fuck yourself. And if you're someone who thinks it's overhyped because it's about lesbians, you're not entirely wrong. Again, Luce is bi, but it is historic. And I think the passion is warranted. People have been injured in violent shipping wars over bad or boring straight couples for years. If a good one like Lumni is getting overhyped, I don't see that as a problem. In fact, I think it's an achievement.